Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. Let's talk about negotiation. It's a huge topic. There's lots and lots of books written about this, and I suggest you get one of them. What was the one that I read a couple years back? More than a couple years ago, I guess. The Art of Negotiation, something like that. If you look online about negotiation, everybody has a numerical process. The 5-step process, the 5 steps to negotiation, the 8 steps, the 4 steps. Let's stick with Harvard's 4 steps. You could get lost in people's different interpretations of this, but they're all similar. Harvard says that the 4 steps to negotiation are preparation, bargaining, closing a deal, and learning from the experience. I think that's interesting to end it with learning from the experience. The reason why I want to talk about negotiation is because I think it's an important skill for life. Not everybody's in business. I am. I own businesses, and I feel like learning how to negotiate is very important when we're talking about money. I just bought a Mustang, and I negotiated the shit out of that. It was a very expensive car. I was really holding on to every penny. But this is a problem, and I was watching a Jordan Peterson talk, listening to a Jordan Peterson talk when I was in the shop the other day, and he was talking about this with somebody. I think it was Douglas Murray, who I really like. Douglas Murray is a British guy, really intelligent. And they're talking about one of the problems with younger generations and how overly emotional and distraught they are with the world, with themselves. They're having a lot of problems. And one of the huge areas that they identified as a problem with young people is that they don't know how to negotiate with the world. So let's understand negotiation. Maybe might make life easier. You can teach a class on this. I'm going to try to do a quick video. When I go into a negotiation of any kind, say if it's business, because you got to understand, when you're talking about money, that's one level of negotiation, at least for me, because I only have so much money. So when I'm doing a deal with Harley Davidson, or whether I'm buying that Mustang that's sitting out there, at a certain point, while I only have so much money, I'm only willing to get into so much debt. I'm only willing to make a deal for so much, and I will walk away. I'll just get up and walk away. And one of the best things that you can do to learn how to negotiate a deal with money is to go listen to that song by Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. There you go. I mean, that's basically the rule. But we have all kinds of negotiations in our life. You may be negotiating with your fiance about where to get married. I have a friend of mine who was just going through that recently, and that became quite stressful for them. They finally just negotiated on some neutral place, and I kind of feel like that they wanted more of a magical fantasy fairyland wedding, but they just kind of settled on something because they were so sick of arguing about it. And I think a lot of people go into relationship negotiations like it's a car deal, like it's a business deal, and you're looking at it wrong. Because you go into it with a selfish attitude. When I go into the dealership to buy an incredibly expensive muscle car, I could give a fuck about the salesman's salary or the feelings of anybody in the building or the owner of the place or anybody. All I care about is me and my money, right? But you can't be that way with other people. If you're negotiating with your kid or with a friend of yours, your lover, you should definitely be negotiating with your lover. And she'll feel more validated in the relationship. So preparation, bargaining, closing the deal, learning from the experience. That's the 4 steps to negotiation according to Harvard. You have to ask yourself basically, what's the object here? And this is just a question of how reasonable are you? Be a really reasonable person. People who are really reasonable, they're easy to deal with. They're a dream. I like people like that. Whether I was in the streets or whether I'm doing business legitimately like I have been for a while now, I like reasonable people. People that are easy to get along with, that they understand that both parties have to feel like that they're getting something out of it. You know, I mean, your motivation can't be just to walk away from every negotiation the glorious winner with everything, all the chips in your hand. You have to be able to understand that other people need to eat. They want to walk away from the table feeling a winner too. Is there a way to negotiate with you where both people win? Or does there always have to be a loser? There's always a winner and a loser. Are you lost in this structure of power where there's always somebody more powerful who gets the edge? That's not what negotiation is. I look at negotiation as being able to move forward. How are we going to move forward towards this goal? That's the ultimate goal. What are we trying to do here? How can we accomplish that? There's always ways to do it. My personal motto, and I've talked about having a personal motto, I put this on all my business cards and have for more than 20 years, where there's a will, there's a way. And I truly believe that there's always a way to figure things out. And that means I'm flexible. I'm quite a flexible person. I don't really have a lot of strict rules. I'm not a really needy person. As long as I got some food in my belly and, you know, some basic things covered in my life, I kind of go with the flow. Whatever, man. But that doesn't mean I give in. It just means that I'm not going into every negotiation with my sword and my shield drawn, guarded, feeling like I better get mine out of this. It's hard to treat loved ones like that. So that's the most important thing to take away from this, since we can't really go into this for 25, 30 minutes, is just to be reasonable. And to understand that other people want to walk away from a negotiation feeling validated, feeling like that they get something out of it. And you may have to compromise. That's a word people hate to hear. Some of you out there, you think you're so smart, and it's my way or the highway. I always have the best plan. You know, learn to take the long route sometimes just because she wants to, because she likes it. Learn to tolerate other people's wants and needs when you're thinking about your own wants and needs. And a good leader can play this balancing game. And it means that you might even have to step outside of yourself just for a second and play this third party, this arbitrator. You get this amount, you get this amount, you get this amount, you know, and you can take what's yours. You may want more. You may feel like you deserve more. You may feel like you deserve to call shots, to tell people what to do, or to always get the biggest pork chop on the plate. But sometimes you have to take one for the team. As leaders, we're always taking one for the team. This is what true kingship is about, and how you run a kingdom. You might be the king of your castle, but you don't have to be a tyrannical king, demanding gifts all the time. You can be a giving king, an understanding king. Those are the ones they build statues of. It's food for thought.